You know, the hardest step you will ever take in life is the first one. Not because the road ahead is too long, not because the mountain is too high, but because that first step requires something you can't borrow from anyone else. It demands courage. Courage to move when your legs feel heavy, to speak when your voice shakes, to start when you have every excuse to stay where you are. Some of you are waiting for the perfect moment. You're telling yourself, I'll do it when I feel ready. Let me tell you something. Ready never comes. If you wait for ready, you'll be sitting in the same place next year watching someone else live the life you could have had. You're not short on time, you're short on action. You think discipline is something you're born with? No. Discipline is a decision. It's the voice in your head that says, I don't want to do this, and the stronger voice that answers back, do it anyway. You're not always going to feel motivated. You're not always going to feel inspired. That's why you've got to force yourself. Not once, not twice, but every single day until action becomes your default. Some mornings you're going to wake up tired. Some nights you're going to go to bed discouraged. In between those moments is where the battle is won. It's in those seconds when you don't feel like moving that you have to push yourself forward. Because the truth is, nobody's coming to save you. Nobody's coming to drag you out of bed. Nobody's going to hold your hand and walk you to your dream. You've got to put yourself in motion. You've got to work when the applause isn't there. You've got to sweat when no one is watching. Every time you hesitate, you give fear room to grow, and fear feeds on your inaction. But when you move, when you take that step, even a small one, you starve fear. You tell it, you don't control me. Action is how you break through the walls in your mind. Action is how you prove to yourself that you're stronger than the excuses you've been living with. Don't confuse movement with progress. Running in circles is not the same as moving forward. Every action you take should pull you closer to your goal. Be intentional. Be relentless. Push yourself beyond comfort, because comfort will keep you average, and you were not born to be average. Life will test you. It will throw obstacles in your path, not to stop you, but to see how bad you really want it. And if you're waiting to feel like taking action, you're already losing. Winners don't wait for the feeling. They create it through movement. So when doubt whispers, when your body wants to quit, when your mind tells you not today, that's when you go harder. That's when you dig deeper. Because the moment you feel like stopping is the exact moment you are about to grow. And growth never comes without force. If you want change, don't wait for it. Demand it from yourself. Stand up, move forward, take that first step, and then another and another, until you look back and realize you're standing in the place you once dreamed of. And when you get there, you'll know it wasn't luck. It wasn't chance. It was you, forcing yourself to take action when it would have been easier to do nothing. Most people are trapped in the same cycle because they believe they need to feel inspired before they can move. They sit around waiting for a spark, waiting for the perfect wave of motivation to hit before they take that first step. But here's the truth. Motivation is not a starting point, it's a byproduct. You don't wait for it to arrive, you generate it through action. That the people you admire, the ones who seem unstoppable, aren't fueled by an endless stream of motivation. They've simply learned that movement creates momentum, and momentum creates the drive to keep going. Think about it like this. If you've ever pushed a heavy object, you know that getting it to move is the hardest part. It takes all your energy just to break that initial resistance. But once it's moving, it takes less effort to keep it going. That's how action works. The hardest part is starting, especially when you don't feel like it. But once you start, something shifts inside you. You begin to feel a little more awake, a little more focused, and a little more determined. That feeling you were waiting for, it starts to show up after you've already moved. Too many people never discover this because they never push past that initial resistance. They mistake the absence of motivation for a signal to stop, when in reality, it's the clearest signal to start. Motivation is like a shadow. It follows you, but it doesn't lead you. If you're standing still, it has nothing to follow. You have to get moving first. The danger in waiting for motivation is that it makes your progress dependent on your mood. If you only act when you feel like it, you'll never be consistent, and consistency is the only path to results. There will be mornings when you wake up tired, days when your mind is scattered, and nights when you feel drained. If you let those feelings dictate your actions, you'll move forward in short bursts and then stall out completely. But if you teach yourself to take action no matter how you feel, you remove the biggest obstacle between you and your goals. You stop being a prisoner to your emotions. It's not about pretending you don't feel tired, unmotivated, or uncertain. It's about refusing to let those feelings make the decision for you. You can acknowledge them and still move. You can feel doubt and still act. You can be scared and still step forward. That's the difference between people who make progress and people who stay stuck. One group moves despite their feelings. The other waits for the right feeling to move. Think of it like starting a workout. You might dread it at first, you might have no energy, but once you start, your body warms up, your blood flows, and your mind begins to engage. By the time you're halfway through, you're in it. And when you finish, you feel proud, energized, even unstoppable. That energy didn't come before you began. It was created by beginning. That's the same energy you need to bring into every area of your life. When you take action without waiting for motivation, you send a powerful message to yourself. I'm in control here. You stop making excuses, because excuses only exist when you give them room. You start to trust yourself more because you prove you can follow through even when it's hard. This builds something far more powerful than motivation. It builds self-discipline and confidence, the kind that carries you through challenges without relying on fleeting bursts of inspiration. And here's something else. Action has a compounding effect. One small step leads to another, and before you know it, you've built momentum that's hard to stop. It works in both directions. Inaction breeds more inaction, but action breeds more action. If you wait for the right moment, you'll only find more reasons to delay. But if you take even the smallest step today, you've already broken the cycle. You might think you need to have everything figured out before you start. You don't. You don't need the perfect plan, you just need movement. Movement creates clarity. When you're sitting still, your fears feel bigger, your doubts feel louder, and your problems feel heavier. But when you move, when you take that call, write that first sentence, send that application, you shrink the fear, quiet the doubts, and lighten the weight you've been carrying. The truth is, motivation is unreliable. It comes and goes like the weather. But action is a choice you can make in any condition. And once you realize that, you no longer have to wait for the right feeling to get things done. You become the kind of person who moves first and lets the feeling catch up. You start living by decision, not by emotion. That's where real change happens. Not in the days you feel ready, but in the days you don't and you still show up. Those days count double. Those are the days that separate the people who dream from the people who do. Because in the end, it's not the waiting that transforms you, it's the moving. And the sooner you start, the sooner motivation will find you running instead of sitting still. Discipline isn't something you're born with. Nobody comes into this world with an unshakable ability to stick to a routine, stay focused under pressure, or keep moving toward their goals no matter what. Discipline is built day after day through choices that are often uncomfortable, inconvenient, and even painful in the moment. It's a muscle. And like any muscle, it grows only when it's used, especially when you don't feel like using it. People love to romanticize discipline as if it's some magical trait that belongs to a select few. They see someone achieving at a high level and think they're just naturally disciplined. But the truth is, those people are simply better at making decisions that align with their goals, regardless of how they feel in the moment. They've learned to silence the voice that says, "Not today," and amplify the one that says, "Do it anyway." The reason discipline is so powerful is because it gives you control over your life. Motivation is fleeting. It depends on mood, energy, and circumstances, all of which change constantly. Discipline doesn't care about any of that. It's not emotional. It's not negotiable. It's a commitment you've made to yourself that you keep even when it's inconvenient, even when you're tired, even when the last thing you want to do is take that step. The real test of discipline isn't what you do when everything is going right. It's how you act when everything is going wrong. When the day is heavy, when the results aren't showing up yet, when your body aches, your mind is clouded, and you're tempted to take the easy way out. That's where most people quit. But discipline refuses to quit. It tells you, I don't care how you feel right now. We have work to do. Building that kind of discipline starts small. It's not about grand gestures. It's about daily follow-through. Waking up when you said you would. Finishing the project you promised yourself you'd complete. Going to the gym even when you're not in the mood. Following through on commitments when no one's watching. Every time you do what you said you would do, you cast a vote for the person you want to become. Each vote strengthens that identity until discipline becomes part of who you are, not just something you practice. One of the biggest misconceptions about discipline is that it's about restriction, about cutting out fun or joy. But discipline isn't about denying yourself, it's about directing yourself. It's the tool that ensures your actions are aligned with your goals instead of your impulses. Without discipline, your life becomes reactive. You move in whatever direction your emotions take you, and emotions can be unpredictable and destructive. Discipline steadies the course. It gives you a compass. When your feelings are trying to lead you astray, there will be days when you wake up with no desire to keep going. On those days, discipline is your lifeline. It's the reason you open the laptop, make the calls, write the words, put on your shoes, or take that meeting. It's not glamorous. There's no cheering crowd, no instant reward. But the reward comes later, in the quiet satisfaction of knowing you honored your own word and in the undeniable results that come from consistent effort over time. The truth is, discipline doesn't get easier, you just get stronger. The resistance will always be there, but your ability to face it will grow. What once felt impossible will become routine. And once something becomes routine, it becomes sustainable. That's when you stop relying on willpower and start operating from habit. That's the point where discipline becomes second nature. It stops feeling like a fight and starts feeling like who you are. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, you build trust in yourself. And trust is powerful because it creates certainty. When you trust yourself to follow through, no matter the circumstances, you no longer need to wait for the perfect conditions to act. You can move forward, even in uncertainty, because you know your own consistency will carry you through. The people who accomplish extraordinary things aren't necessarily more talented or more intelligent than anyone else. They're simply more disciplined. They do the work others avoid. They take the steps others delay. They keep going when others stop. And over time, that consistency compounds into results that look like magic to the outside world. But it's not magic. It's the quiet, unshakable decision to do what needs to be done, no matter what. If you want to change your life, stop waiting to feel like it. Start practicing discipline today. Choose one small thing and follow through on it every day. Let that one habit grow into 2, then 3. Train yourself to do the hard things, even when they're uncomfortable. Because once you master discipline, you master yourself. And when you master yourself, there is no challenge, no obstacle, no goal too big for you to conquer. Comfort is one of the most dangerous places you can live in because it feels safe, it feels familiar, and it feels easy. But what it doesn't feel like is growth. Growth is never born in the same space where you feel secure and unchallenged. Comfort will convince you that staying where you are is good enough, that you've done enough, that you don't need to push any further, and if you listen to it long enough, it will keep you in the same place for years while life moves on without you. When you're comfortable, you stop stretching yourself. You stop taking risks. You stop testing your limits. The problem is that your potential doesn't live in that safe zone. It lives just outside it. That's why stepping into discomfort is not just optional, it's necessary if you want to become more than you are right now. The challenges you face outside your comfort zone are the very experiences that shape you, strengthen you, and prepare you for bigger opportunities. Think about every major breakthrough in your life. None of them happened when you were relaxed and content. They happened when you were nervous, unsure, and maybe even scared. That's because discomfort forces growth. It forces you to adapt, to think differently, to develop skills you didn't know you had. Without it, you stagnate. But comfort is seductive. It will whisper to you, why go through the trouble? Why make yourself uncomfortable when you can just stay here where it's easy? And if you give in, you won't even notice how quickly time passes while you're standing still. Years will go by, and the dreams you once had will fade into what could have been. That's the hidden cost of comfort. It doesn't just steal your growth, it steals your time. The people who achieve great things understand that discomfort is a signal, not a warning. It's a sign that you're entering new territory, and new territory is where you expand your limits. Every time you step into something that scares you a little, you increase your capacity for more. You build resilience. You learn to operate in uncertainty. And that skill, being able to move forward without all the answers, is what separates those who succeed from those who stay stuck. The truth is, growth often feels like failure at first. When you try something new, you're not going to be good at it right away. You might stumble. You might feel awkward. You might even fall flat on your face. That's the discomfort talking. And if you mistake that discomfort for a sign to stop, you'll never give yourself the chance to get better. The first time you step into the gym, your muscles ache. The first time you speak in front of people, your voice shakes. But if you keep going, the pain turns into strength. The shaking turns into confidence. Comfort is the breeding ground for mediocrity. It's where people settle for good enough instead of reaching for great. But great doesn't happen by accident. Great is earned in the moments you choose discomfort over ease, discipline over laziness, progress over procrastination. Every time you choose growth over comfort, you're telling yourself, I'm not here to settle, I'm here to become. It's not that you can never enjoy comfort. It's that you can't live there. Comfort should be a place you visit to recharge, not a place you set up permanent camp. Too much of it will dull your ambition, weaken your discipline, and make you forget what you're capable of. That's why you need to keep pushing yourself into places that challenge you. Whether it's starting a new project, learning a new skill, meeting new people, or taking a risk that scares you, it's in those moments of discomfort that you discover who you really are. There's a simple truth. Your life expands in direct proportion to your willingness to be uncomfortable. The more you're willing to face uncertainty, the more opportunities you'll find. And the more you shy away from it, the more limited your world becomes. Discomfort is the doorway to every level you want to reach. Walk through it often enough, and eventually, what once scared you becomes your new normal. Then you push again, and the cycle continues. If you want to live a life that excites you, that challenges you, that makes you proud when you look back, you cannot afford to get too comfortable. You have to seek out situations that demand more from you than you think you have to give. You have to keep asking, what's next? What's bigger? What's harder? And then have the courage to step into it. Because in the end, comfort will keep you the same. Discomfort will make you better. And better is where the life you want is waiting. Fear thrives in stillness. The longer you hesitate, the louder it grows, feeding on your doubts and insecurities until it feels bigger than it actually is. Every moment you spend standing still, fear has time to twist possibilities into problems, opportunities into risks, and dreams into what-ifs. The fastest way to weaken fear is to act before it has the chance to take root. Small, consistent steps might seem insignificant in the moment, but over time they strip fear of its power and replace it with confidence. Fear is a master of exaggeration. It will make you believe the challenge is impossible, that you're not ready, that you'll fail before you even begin. But fear can only work with the information you give it. If you never act, all it has are assumptions, and assumptions always lean toward the worst-case scenario. When you take action, even something small, you give yourself real evidence. You replace I can't with I can, not because the entire problem is solved, but because you've proven you can move forward. Confidence isn't built in a single bold leap. It's built in steady, repeated movement. Think about someone learning to swim. At first, the water is intimidating. The fear of sinking feels overwhelming. But they don't become confident swimmers by standing on the edge of the pool, thinking about it. They start by dipping a toe in. Then they wade to the shallow end. Then they try a few strokes. Every small step makes the next one less frightening until the thing that once caused anxiety becomes second nature. That's exactly how it works in life. Consistency is what turns actions into habits and habits into strength. If you act only when you feel ready or brave, you'll act rarely. But when you commit to taking some kind of step every day, regardless of how you feel, you begin to build trust in yourself. That trust is the foundation of real confidence. You start to believe, no matter how uncertain I feel, I can still move. The beauty of small steps is that they're manageable. You don't have to overhaul your life in a single day. You just have to do the next thing. Write a single paragraph. Make one phone call. Walk for 10 minutes. Send that email. These actions might not seem like much, but they compound. Like drops of water filling a bucket, they build up over time until you look back and realize you've made real progress. And in the process, the fear that once held you back has been replaced by a quiet assurance that you can handle more than you thought. Fear thrives in the unknown, so one of the most effective ways to beat it is to shrink the unknown by acting. The moment you take even a small step, you learn something about the situation, about your abilities, about what works and what doesn't. Knowledge replaces uncertainty, and with uncertainty gone, fear loses its grip. The more you act, the more you learn, and the more you learn, the less intimidating the path ahead becomes. It's important to understand that confidence doesn't mean you stop feeling fear altogether. Confidence means you stop letting fear decide what you do. You still feel the nerves, but you move anyway. And each time you do, the fear gets smaller and your courage gets stronger. It's not about eliminating fear. It's about making it irrelevant to your decision-making. The first steps are always the hardest because they carry the most resistance. But once you start, you create momentum. And momentum is powerful. It turns effort into energy and energy into results. The key is not to let that momentum slip away. That's where consistency comes in. If you stop for too long, fear can creep back in and rebuild the walls you just knocked down. But if you keep moving, even slowly, fear never has the chance to rebuild. Some people believe they have to feel confident before they act. But it's actually the other way around. Action is the seed and confidence is the fruit. You don't wait for the fruit before planting the seed. You plant it, water it, and let time do its work. Every small, deliberate step you take is like watering that seed. Eventually, you'll have something solid to stand on. A confidence built not on wishful thinking, but on proof that you can take action and survive whatever comes from it. The truth is, fear will never completely disappear. But if you make a habit of moving forward in small, consistent steps, it will no longer control you. You'll learn to see it for what it is, just a shadow that fades when you shine the light of action on it. And over time, those steps will carry you further than you ever imagined, not because the fear went away, but because you learned how to keep walking despite it. Acting when it's hardest is where true momentum is created. It's easy to move forward when the sun is shining, when your energy is high, when everything seems to be going your way. But that's not where strength is built. Strength is forged in the moments when everything inside you says, not today, and you answer back, yes, today. Those moments when you're tired, discouraged, overwhelmed, or doubting yourself are the exact points where champions are made. When you choose to act in your lowest moments, you're doing more than just pushing forward on your goals. You're proving to yourself that you can't be broken by circumstance. Anyone can take action when they feel good. The real test is what you do when you don't feel ready, when your motivation is at its lowest, and when the weight of life is pressing down on you. Every time you move in those moments, you reinforce the identity of someone who doesn't quit. Momentum is a powerful force. It's what carries you through hard days and turns effort into results. But here's the truth, momentum is easiest to create when you need it the most. When things are going well, you're already coasting. But when things are difficult, that's when one small action can shift everything. Taking a step when it feels impossible creates a ripple effect. You break through the resistance and suddenly the next step is easier. That's why the people who seem unstoppable aren't the ones who never struggle. They're the ones who move anyway when they do struggle. Acting in hard times also teaches you something about resilience. You learn that you don't have to wait for the perfect emotional state to move forward. You can operate in the storm, in the chaos, in the discomfort. And the more you do it, the more you trust yourself to handle whatever comes next. That trust is invaluable because it removes the need to control every condition before you act. You stop waiting for the right time because you know you can create progress in any time. It's also in these moments that your discipline is tested and strengthened. On the days you don't feel like doing the work, but do it anyway, you're reinforcing habits that can withstand pressure. You're building the muscle that will carry you through future challenges. When you look at the most successful people in any field, you'll see this pattern. They have the ability to show up at full effort regardless of how they feel. They don't negotiate with themselves. They act. Another powerful thing happens when you act in difficult moments. You take away the power of excuses. Excuses thrive in hard times. They tell you to wait until tomorrow, to take it easy, to give yourself a break just this once. And while rest has its place, too often those excuses pile up into weeks or months of inaction. By choosing to move when excuses are the loudest, you send a message to yourself that your goals are not negotiable. You quiet the inner voice that looks for the easy way out. The beauty of acting in your hardest moments is that it multiplies your growth. Progress made under pressure builds more confidence than progress made in comfort. If you can work toward your goals when you feel at your weakest, imagine how much stronger you'll be when you feel at your best. This is why many athletes train in conditions harder than the competition. They know that if they can perform in difficulty, the actual challenge will feel easier. The same principle applies to life. Sometimes the act of moving forward in difficulty isn't even about the size of the step. It's about the fact that you took it at all. Writing a single paragraph when you're drained, showing up to the meeting when you're discouraged, doing 10 push-ups when you could have done none. Those moments build something inside you that comfort never could, a deep belief that you are in control of your actions no matter the circumstances. And here's the most important part. When you act in your hardest moments, you create a turning point. You shift from being someone who is controlled by conditions to someone who controls them. That identity shift is powerful because it changes how you see yourself. You stop identifying as someone who tries and start identifying as someone who does, even when it's hard. That identity will push you through future challenges faster than motivation ever could. Life will give you moments that test your resolve. The easy choice will always be to pause, to wait for a better day, to hope conditions improve. But every time you choose action instead, you not only move closer to your goal, you become the kind of person who can't be stopped. And once you've proven to yourself that you can move forward when it's hardest, there's no situation, no challenge, no obstacle that can take that momentum away from you. Everything we've talked about comes down to one simple truth. Your life changes when you decide to move. Not when you talk about it, not when you think about it, not when you wait for the right moment, but when you act. Action is the thread that connects motivation, discipline, growth, courage, and momentum. Without it, all the desire in the world stays locked inside you, untouched and unused. The difference between people who get what they want and people who keep wishing for it isn't talent, luck, or circumstance. It's movement. One step at a time, over and over, until the picture in your head becomes the reality in front of you. You don't have to start big. You don't have to have it all figured out. You just have to start. Motivation will come and go, but if you learn to move without it, you'll never be stuck. Discipline will feel hard in the moment, but it will free you from the trap of living at the mercy of your emotions. Comfort will tempt you to stay where you are, but the life you want exists outside that bubble. Fear will try to convince you to hesitate, but every step you take toward your goal makes it smaller. And when life hits hard, choosing to act anyway will create the momentum that carries you forward when nothing else can. You might think you're waiting for the perfect opportunity, but the truth is, opportunities reveal themselves to people who are already in motion. The person who is moving, learning, adapting, and growing will always be in the right place at the right time because they make themselves ready for it. And here's something most people overlook. You will never fully feel ready for the biggest moves in your life. You'll be nervous, you'll be unsure, you'll second guess yourself. But readiness isn't a feeling, it's a decision. You decide you're ready by stepping forward, and the feeling comes after. Every single day you have a choice. You can let your circumstances dictate your actions, or you can let your actions dictate your circumstances. You can wait for things to be perfect, or you can start now and make them better along the way. You can listen to the voice that says it's too hard, or you can answer with, I'll do it anyway. The road will not be smoothed. You'll face setbacks, failures, and moments of doubt. But if you keep moving, if you force yourself to take action no matter what, you will get stronger, faster, and more resilient. And eventually, you'll look back and realize that every step you took, no matter how small, was shaping you into the person you needed to become to live the life you wanted. So don't wait for motivation. Don't wait for perfect conditions. Don't wait for someone to give you permission. The clock is already ticking. The moment is already here. Take the step, and then take another, because the only way to build the life you dream of is to force yourself to take action and keep taking it until there's nothing left standing between you and your goal.